right, what time did we actually wind up? Oh, 3:36, okay. I'll take a 3:36. So how are we doing? All right, 4 seconds in. And the energy's running. Took me a few minutes to get on, it's all right. And I'll start off by introducing, this is Potato. He's a Russian tortoise, and he lives loose in the apartment. Walks around. He has a cage, but he never goes in it. He can if he wants, but he never goes in it. We keep other stuff in there. Anyway, that's him. He's a really super friendly tortoise. Everyone gets along. He sleeps with dogs a lot for warmth if he's cold. He'll cuddle up. He'll cuddle up with Luke. I'm putting him down now. Want to say hello? And whoops, Carmen, you probably know if you've watched any of my videos before. This is Carmen. Want to say hello? There she is. She's a bearded dragon. She lives on my dresser. When I'm gonna have to go put her down. We have a new dog who has not yet learned not to chase her. So whoops. Stella's here too. So Stella's the one that chases. She will sometimes chase this one. Anyway, so I'm going to go put her back on her windowsill. But I like to make sure that their energetic signature gets picked up. Gets picked up by the energy of the transmission. Okay. Why don't you stay here for a few minutes? It was handy. We used to have a chair that was right there, and I could just put her on the chair. But now, anyway, I'm going to give people a few minutes to get here. And the last live stream, so I never know how these things are going to go. I am working on moving my, I don't know. Because of the nature of the work that I do, in terms of energetic signature on energetic networking globally, my energy streams, the energetic transmission that comes through me, one, depending on the strata that we're working in, it will either be blocked or it will go through. The further down you come, the closer you get to 3, that's where most of the blockages are. But then sometimes it's also a certain amount of protection. And since I know that, so anyway, the last live stream that I did went for 3 hours, and which is short usually. They tend to go a little bit longer than that, but it was 3 hours, and it was up for about maybe 12 hours, and then it vanished. It vanished first on Chrome, and then, because I was looking at 2 different versions of Facebook, and one on Chrome didn't have it. It also wasn't on my phone. And then I did, but it was still on Safari for a while. And then I didn't even get a chance to listen to it. But other people said they got notifications. Somebody said they got a notification after it was taken down. Somebody said today they got a notification for my live stream. They're in Thailand. So because of the nature of the work that I do, different strata move at different rates. And we're trying to get everything aligned so that we can have all, even if it's just for a minute, we're trying to get everything aligned where everyone gets a message all at once. And there is a precedence for this, and I'll talk to you a little bit about what happened to me the other day when we were, I did have an experience that tells me that the perfect alignment is coming. Actually, where's my pen? 1 second. As we're speaking, or as I'm speaking, and thoughts come through, I want to make sure that I get back to some of these topics, which I may or may not do in this live stream since I never know how it's going to go. Hang on a second. Hearing loss, hearing return. I'm going to talk to you about why that happened. It's very interesting. I've been examining a lot why certain things aren't getting through. And I've also been talking a lot about, as I meet with various people in sequence, we're trying to construct kind of an equilateral network where every person is working up to their capacity, appropriate capacity, so that no one is overloaded, but everyone's burden is shared, so that all the variety of different maturity levels, everyone is expected to contribute, but everyone can't contribute equally because there are different levels of maturity. And there's a way that it is meant to happen. It actually winds up constructing something very much like a stairway, where we don't expect somebody who doesn't have expertise to have the expertise before they have it, because there's a way that we have to learn things. We need both a teacher, and then we turn around and we teach somebody else the level behind us. So whatever your expertise is, or whatever your gift is, you are required to give of that which you have. But you're not expected to have something that you don't have, but you are expected to expand or up level and take on appropriate responsibility. So first you need to know yourself. But fortunately we can, I'm already getting off on a foot I didn't think I was going to get off on. I've been looking at why certain things don't get through. Very often I see things years and years and years in advance, and it always feels to me like at one of the in the higher strata, there is no time. You're off the timeline, so or off the physical timeline. So you're going to experience things in the in the now moment. So very often I will see something happening and it feels like it's coming directly toward me, and it feels like it's happening right now, but it's like 10 years in my future. And that happens less now than it did, but just because of where we are I'm aware that that I have a specific role and a specific position, and it's a little bit like an orchestra conductor. I know I've used this analogy before, but that's because it's a good analogy. Where the first thing you do, I've got an overall set of responsibilities, and before the orchestra can play, you have to go around and make sure every single instrument and group of instruments are in tune. So that's what I've done for the last year, where I've had individual sessions in a sequence, and every single person who comes to me, we make an adjustment, and on behalf of myself, I kind of carry the group, and so do they. They carry a group too, and we make an adjustment that corrects something. And then once all of these things are in tune, then we can start picking them up by section and doing something with each section. And the ultimate goal is to get everyone to play together, and which we will, but we're not entirely there yet. I was talking with someone the other day about, please don't fly off the table. Hang on a second. I don't want a dog to chase you. 1 second. I will be right back. You. Also, I should say that after the disconnection last time, which I was kind of aware, it reminds me a little bit of when crystals blip. I know I'm changing the subject slightly, but it reminded when my whole live stream was taken down, and there are a number of reasons that that might have happened. It could be dark interference where, you know, on the lower level, it's perceived as dark interference or deliberate squashing, or, you know, did I mention a word that I wasn't supposed to mention or whatever. There are a couple of other possibilities, and it did occur to me that it could be the same kind of thing like when crystals blip. Have you ever heard of that? When it's an actual thing, and a lot of people will say, nonsense, that doesn't happen, but oh yes, it does. Crystals, sometimes, for those of you who work with crystals, you will be, especially if you work with a crystal that's like a favorite of yours, or you've been working with it for a long time. I had a necklace at one point that it was a chevron amethyst, and it had a perfect equilateral triangle right in the center. And I wore that thing. I didn't take it off at all for about 10 years. Wore it in the shower, always wore it. And one day I had to take it off for, I can't remember what it was, but something about it, I was like, I want to keep this thing as safe as possible because I don't want it to disappear on me. I love this thing so much. And I took it off and I put it in my wallet and I zipped it. It was like I really made sure that I had it. And then I can't remember, it was one thing, I think I took it off for an x-ray, something like that. And when I opened up my wallet, it was not there. There have been other times like that where anybody who works with crystals for a long time knows that sometimes they do what's known as blip, which means they literally vanish. And it will show up, it will, you'll put it someplace, you'll know where it is, and it will just not be there. But everything else is the same. And you're like, what the hell happened to my crystal? And usually what happens is you go crazy looking for it. And this has now happened to me. I think I've had 5 or 6 times when it's not a matter of misplacing it. It's that it's suddenly not there. It's typical that people will think that that the crystal, what happens is that you change timelines, and sometimes that's attributed to the crystal going on a higher timeline. But in my experience, the crystals are the ones who hold programs. The crystals are much more stable than we are. We're the ones who fluctuate like crazy, which is why we use crystals for crystal therapy. You know, this one has a specific property, and you can also program it because it will hold or it will stabilize your intention, or it will stabilize a frequency. And then we have them on contact with our skin because it delivers that frequency to us, because crystals are more stable than we are. We fluctuate like crazy and flip timelines constantly. And usually when a crystal blips, it's not that the crystal changed timelines, it's that we changed timelines, and the crystal stayed in the other timeline where it's more stable. Doesn't mean it's less heartbreaking. Often the crystal will come back, but you won't be able to, like, you can't, I've tried, we've all tried, calling it back. Sometimes when crystals blip, it's because you've outgrown them and maybe you didn't want to let it loose. You did. I mean, I've totally had that happen where I've grown too attached to it. Don't take it. And it needs to go. It has its own life, and it needs to go someplace else now and work with other people. And that is heartbreaking. It's like, you know, it's like when your children leave home or something. And sometimes it can be really devastating when you have something that you really identify with. You know, it's like my personal stone. I wore that thing for so long, and then it just vanished. I never got that one back. I have had other stones that blipped that I did get back, and it turned up something. It's so interesting the way, I didn't think I was going to talk about this at all. I had there was some ceremony. I lost my moldavite one time, and if you know me, you know that I take really good care of my stones. I cleanse them regularly. I bathe them in moonlight and sunlight. I know where they all are. I check them regularly. When I move them, I know where I moved them. I know who they are. They all have personalities, and I know them. And there are certain ones that are that I have less of a personal attachment to, like the utilitarian stones, like tumble stones, and I will use those in, oh, I don't know, like practical magic, or I will use them to, create, um, like vibrational healing water and things like that. And that certain things can be exchanged with others, but then there are others that are really personal stones. And I'm very, very careful about who I even let touch them at all. There are some stones, Calico will tell you, my daughter, some stones, there are some trays that she's allowed to touch, and then there's a whole other category, like you do not go near them. None of your friends can touch them. They're mine. I keep them over here, and nobody touches them because I don't want anything to influence those. And one of those stones was suddenly gone, and I needed it. It was the only one. It was a moldavite, and I really needed it. It was the only moldavite I have, and I can't remember what was it was some sort of a high holy day. Darn it, I don't remember what the actual high holy day was, because I celebrate a lot of them in a lot of different religions, but it was one of those ones where you make an altar for prayer, and then I was going to do my meditation, so I had this whole thing set up, and I was wishing that I had my moldavite. I did not have it, and I set up this whole thing with like the cloth and the candles, and set my intention, and left the room. And when I came back, the moldavite was in the center of the cloth, and that blew my mind a little, because the place where I normally kept it, where it had vanished from this spot, like I know where I usually keep it, and it was nowhere near my altar. And so it vanished. It allowed me to really miss it. And then but it was there when I needed it. And yeah, it was great. Yeah, my little moldavite. Anyway, I've only ever let one other person have any meaningful contact with that stone. I was like, you can wear it. I'm gonna need it back, but you can have it for a little bit, but I'm gonna need it back. And that's because we share the same energetic signature, where I knew it was, oh, okay. All right. So what was, let's see. I'm looking at my, I've been trying to, bye, sweetie. I've been trying to figure out how to do these live streams, because I don't want to waste, I don't want to waste time, effort, and resources. So I think I've started to make this point a couple of times. Part of the problem in delivering delivering all of the information that I've got, we're trying to figure out how to, I talk to people about this a lot. We're trying to figure out how to present it when it's complex information. You can't actually put it in a linear order, because so much of it, I know she left, sweetie. You heard her whining. Oh, Cassidy left, I know. Come on over here. You're not alone. It requires a lot of backstory. So one of the problems that we've been having is that when I present information, you don't want to talk down to your audience. You don't want to repeat things that's obvious to them, but it refers back to itself. So it requires a lot of backstory, and even in order to refer back to the points, some information is totally new to people, and some people are they just don't want to hear the repetition, where I understand that, and both are valid. I'm only one person, even though I've got a lot of aspects. I really do need some practical help. And I am getting it, but it hasn't actually like landed on the ground yet. I've got a lot of help in the higher network, and virtually not on the ground right now. So I haven't figured out exactly how to approach this problem. I need a minimum of 1 or 3 really solid, supportive aspects on the ground so that I can do this work. So I'm calling it in, I'm calling it in, I'm calling it in. It hasn't arrived yet. A lot of other help has arrived. I'm aware that it's on its way. I just have no idea where the hell it is, or even who. I just totally can't tell. Stella, stop whining. Let's see. So the abundance network, one of the problems too is that it comes through in kind of large chapters and downloads, and each download, it will come in very quickly to me when I'm walking around, and then I know it's time to deliver it, but it's going to take a number of hours. If you take a download and you put it into sequential form, it can take 7 hours. So I feel like I've got a minimum of 4 gigantic books and no venue to actually put them out. Yeah, I might have to go put her in the other room too. But there are some very interesting, a lot of the interference has been leaving. It's actually been excised. There's so much work that goes on behind the scenes. Stop whining. Come over here. Or don't. I know I need to talk about the abundance network. I also thought that in terms of connectivity, certain things make no sense whatsoever in the third dimension. There are certain solutions that actually do make a profound difference in a higher network. There are ways to connect things in the higher network that is just absurd in the three-dimensional network. I started today off deliberately wearing green, and what you don't see off camera is that before, just in case we experience connection issues, like if it gets pixelated, or we're trying to bring in the entire spectrum. We're trying to ground that and bring in the entire spectrum so that it comes in like white light and with no interference, so that all of the levels of the spectrum are able to maintain their purity, and also because we don't want a mud color, we want the entire spectrum. We want a lateral connection. It's a little bit like building a rainbow. We're going to land on gold. There's the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, where the rainbow meets Earth. There's a reason that these things, it's not only mythological. It actually has there's a basis for why these things are mentioned. Why things happen in collective consciousness. And myths usually have a strong basis in reality. It may not be a third dimensional reality, but that's where everything is compressed and dense, and a lot of 5D and above reality, or 4D and above reality, is considered mythological by those in 3 because they can't see it. That doesn't mean it's less valid. That means they can't see it. And there's a mechanism by which we need to bring all of these, adjust the belief systems so that it's capable of receiving the full expanse of light, the entire full spectrum. There's a way that we're bringing that online so that all are seen and all are recognized. But so far, we have to do it by percentages. And we're still working on it. Hang on a minute. Just a second. I really have a lot of books in me. I'm having a hard time arranging it in some sort of digestible, sequential format. I'm not lazy. It's the structure that isn't prepared yet. There's like, it's huge. And so I can't, there's no way to get it through. When, just yet, we know it's coming. If you've been, if you've had a private session with me, or if you've been on any of the group calls, there are certain characteristic disruptions in, whoops, what is that? What just happened? Wait a minute. Oh, shoot. Come on, back on. Wait a second. Wow. What is that? All of a sudden, the live stream's still going, but I can't see anything. Wait, why? Wow. The screen just went totally dark. Okay, okay, bring it back online. I'm calling on all benevolence in the universe to assist me with the following intent. Can all of you will it back? Let's see if we can play with it right now, because I feel like we're being given this, to play with right now. I was just talking about different kinds of disconnections. And when you put your, when you start talking about something, different topics of conversation, you get a different kind of interruption. So right now I can't see any of the comments, and I can't see my own picture. Right now I'll tell you what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a very dim screen. There is a full connection. Hang on, let me look. There is a, yep. The electricity is fully connected. The green light is on, so it's not a power issue. But all of a sudden in my screen, what I'm seeing is I can see my own image on the live stream, but it's about 20% lit. I can see it, but it's extremely dim. And then I'm also getting, oh, that's fascinating. I'm also getting a reflection of myself, because it's also part mirror. So as it's dim, I can see a little box in the center where it's about 20%. And then I can also see thank you for helping me with this, because I did ask to know what the problem was. Just a second, let's see. And then I'm getting a grid. So in the screen right now, there's a grid behind me, right? With 9 squares of light. So let's work on this right now. Okay. Thank you for the opportunity to make this correction. I wonder if this helps. What I started to say is that I've got a whole bunch of different colors. I started on green, and I wanted to know if we start to experience different kinds of connection problems, for example, pixelations. I was talking to somebody the other day, and it's not for the first time that that the screen gets pixelated every time we talk about the abundance system, and specifically money. I was talking with Angel once for 7 hours. We had a 7-hour call. It was one of the times when we've had a 7-hour call. And 3.5 hours in, we started talking about the abundance system and how to get money through. And we had had a straight connection. And just when he hit this topic of conversation, it breaks completely. And she and I experienced a breakup where the call ended, and we kept trying to get back on with each other. And we missed each other by about maybe 15, 20 times in a row. Or we would get connected, and it would be a good connection for about 5 seconds and then cut off again. And then while we were talking about the abundance system, that's what it was doing. It was a partial connection, but it was like lurching. And then when the topic of all of a sudden it came back on, and that happened. We had a couple of different. She was trying to get me some money because we had no groceries or nothing. She was trying to send me a donation, and there are certain. Right now, the only thing that has been getting through to me financially, unless you, as I don't have a bank account, and I can still accept, and also certain all third dimensional systems don't reach me. So the child support doesn't go through. Social services takes that. I don't qualify for disability. I don't qualify. Or if I qualify, there's something where they say that I owed the money. So there's a huge disconnect where whatever the normal system is in the third dimension, it is not working for me. That's actually serving. It will work for other people, but somebody else is going to have to bring that to me a different way because it's not working. I can't access it because I have a different purpose. I can go in the one direction, which is appropriate for the job that I have. So there was this time when Angel was trying to send me 333 Canadian, and she sent me Western Union, sent me something by Western Union, and we couldn't get it through. It's also interesting because it's West, and it also has the word union in it. I went to the grocery store where they said they could cash it. That didn't work at all. They said no, they were closed. I went to another place. They said where we tried. I had the receipt. I had her on the phone, and they wouldn't give it to me. They told me I had to go someplace else. So the point is, I had to make 3 trips on 3 separate days before she got her refund. And then she wound up sending it to me PayPal. There's a massive delay where it's not only about the quantity, it's about we're trying to align energies of numbers. It's not necessarily the amount that needs to be aligned, it's also the energy. So I was going to talk about, I can't see to even, I'm wearing my glasses. I was just about to put these glasses on over. Can anybody see me? I can't read your answer. Crap. It's okay. Maybe you can still see me and I just can't see you. This is fascinating though, because I'm getting my own reflection where it's partially a mirror but it's really dim. So I can't see the screen that you guys are seeing. I can kind of see myself, but I'm getting my own reflection, and then, okay, this is fascinating. It's actually making a certain amount of sense, though. I know that the role that I've got is to, and this is making a certain amount of sense from when I also take this information and I make a connection between what happened to me the other day with my hearing, which I'll tell you about in a second. I want to finish this thing with telling you this thing with Angel. She was trying, so basically when she had sent me money, I couldn't get it for 3 days, it was a long time, it was actually a couple of weeks. And then she sent me something via PayPal that did come in immediately. But certain things that were supposed to arrive didn't arrive for a really long time, like years. We're taught there's a massive deficit. We're also working with a tremendous bandwidth differential. And this is why this thing is happening, where we're working with galactic scale. It's a scale issue. We're working with galactic scale forces, country scale forces. You know, the economies of countries, the economies of states, the economies of individuals. And we have to align all of these things so that we don't get, basically, so it makes the appropriate geometry, so certain people don't get overloaded. We can't have a bandwidth differential where we're trying to equalize the current. If you think about it, like the current in the current sea, the amount of energy, the amount of energetic investment, the amount of labor, the amount of deficit, the amount of, we're trying to equalize all of these forces. And it's a very complex migration of networking. And at this point, I've been working on this for 9 years. I'm certainly not the only one. There are millions of us. Millions. There are lots of us. Depending on, there are many of us working on it You can't really count them. It depends on how, somebody asked me that the other day, how many are there? It depends on where you are. There are fewer hubs than there are people kind of in the general populace who are also playing an important role. But we can't take, certain people have systems and spiritual maturity levels that are designed to carry a much broader bandwidth. And then some of them also, there's a certain level of sensitivity and breadth that go together. And what we're trying to do is merge both the extreme sensitivity to nuance, where you're paying attention to every slight little fluctuation, where that is picked up on without sacrificing. We can't come in all blasty either. We have to balance the two extremes. And so that is the job that I've got. And it's the job of, I'm one of the hub people, where it's like I sit in the middle of a gigantic wagon wheel, which is partial, if you picture a wagon wheel with the spokes and then a space, and the space is shaped like this. So you've got concentric rings, and part of it is space and part of it is solid. And they do different things. And each space, if you picture like like the window behind me, but if you picture it as if you picture it as a wedge as opposed to a grid. But that's exactly what we're doing, because those who are coming in carrying a lot of energy, typically from above, from the higher forces, the galactic forces, the energy moves like water. So energy is going to look for a space to move through. It's going to look through. It's going to look for a doorway. Water doesn't move when it hits a wall. It stops. But there are certain things, certain aspects of the spectrum require solidity, or they can't walk. So, for example, if you're a human being and you actually get to a cliff and it's nothing but a canyon, you're going to look for a stepping stone. You can't, or a boat. You're going to require solidity, because you can't, if you're going to get across, if you can't swim and you can't move like water, if you can't do that, you're going to require something that's more solid. So you're going to either need a stepping stone, and it has to be close enough to you, so according to your height and how far your legs can reach. So we're just trying to make sure everyone can reach the lowest rung of the ladder. If they're, it doesn't do any good for somebody who's 50 feet high to say, follow in my footsteps, because they're taking much bigger steps than the people who are shorter. We're trying to make sure everyone can get what they need, whatever it is. So sometimes it's a resource, sometimes, and very often it is a resource, but a resource of what? Sometimes a resource is money. Sometimes a resource is space, because sometimes you're just out of space and that's the thing you need. Whatever the thing that you need is, that's what we're trying to make sure you have access to. We're not trying to force it on anybody, but whatever support system you need, there are a lot of people who don't have certain information that they need, and we're trying to get them that too. So it's a gigantic migration of resources of all kinds. And that's the thing that I'm in the center of. Let's see. Oh, thank you. Thank you for posting my PayPal link. Yes, donations are greatly appreciated. I'm actually in deficit. If you went to my PayPal account right now, I don't have any money. I'm down by $2. So far, yeah, whatever. I don't want to talk about that. I have an abundance of other things. So what did I start to say? The abundance network, synchronicity, the abundance network. I have so many things to say that so I started to say this. I started to talk about I'm starting on green. So you might wonder why I'm doing another live stream today when the last one disappeared. The last one was up and then it vanished and nobody can find it. So I had archived it in Facebook, and what I was going to do was download it to my computer or upload it, whatever. I was going to put it on my computer, and then I was going to put it on the YouTube channel. For some reason, when I go to do certain things, there are certain systems that will accommodate my energetic signature, and then there are certain ones that have almost a flinch response where it's like oil and water, like these things do not mix. There needs to be some sort of a bridge, and either the bridge has not shown up, or for whatever reason, certain things aren't working yet. And certain things also, certain portions of the system, like Zoom. So a lot of people have said, and I'm thinking of Sarah Adams, we've worked on this. We've really worked on this. A lot of people, what they tend to do is say, well, it should work for you. You know, all you have to do is fill out the paperwork. Was it a technical error? And I don't need to be snotty about it, but the people that think that, they tend to be the ones who function in the third dimension, and they tend to immediately look for, I'm not saying this is wrong, but they're looking for, if you just did it right, it would work for you. If you just conform to this, it would work for you. And there's this massive schism. The last time, it's been a while, but the last time I went to social services, the woman could not get my fingerprint. The machine would not read my fingerprint. We become invisible after a certain frequency shift. The third dimension no longer recognizes us. We're invisible. They can't see us. They can't see us. They can't hear us. They don't recognize us. In the Bible, where it says, I should probably know my quotes better, but let those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. Those are the ones that are going to recognize it. Some of us know exactly what's going on. This woman she pressed my, she did the thing with the oil, get some oil on your finger, and she said, push it down, put it down. It's right there, push it. And then it's like, and she was watching me, and she said, it was just working. The other person, I don't know what's wrong with this machine. It was just working for the person before you. And then she walked over to the machine, and she actually took my thumb and pressed it down harder, like I wasn't already pushing my thumb. You're watching me push my thumb. It doesn't work. And what was funny about that was that after about 15 minutes, she went and she got the manager. She's trying to get it to work, and it wouldn't work, and it wouldn't work, and it wouldn't work. And finally, she said, oh, all right, fine. I'm just, all it had to do was she had to sign off on it or something. But it just didn't recognize my thumbprint. And that's because I have a 5D thumbprint, or for whatever reason, my energetic signature busts the crap out of the 3D systems, as it was designed to do. So, but we are the power source. The power is actually coming from the connection to source. So the more you are connected to that, you tend to short circuit. There's a lot of deliberate disconnection going on en masse, and which is totally appropriate, because we're done dragging dead weight. They've had a certain margin of time. I don't mean to be a bitch about it, but for real, they've had a certain margin of time to make certain corrections, to pick up the pace, it had to be as urgent for those in the third dimension to give a crap for real. And the service population, the ones that kind of habitually, perpetually are the ones that actually keep the thing running, it's like pulling the plug on life support. And it's also a lot like pulling the plug on an electric tool, where, a lot of the people in the third dimension have been very complacent about making the required changes that needed to happen. even though it was very obvious that, and it's not like they didn't know or weren't told for thousands and thousands of years, that this isn't going to go on forever. You're supposed to pick up your brethren. You're supposed to assist. That wasn't happening fast enough. It's kind of like, so if you're wondering, probably you're not. If you're listening to me, you're probably one of the ones that's already, yes, it's like, yes. So Anna says it's so, oh, fascinating. So all of a sudden, some of the light is coming back on. Oh, Anna Reynolds. So she says, I am able to open the live stream in 3 different ways and each in a different time of the live stream. Really? Oh, and each are in a different time of the live stream. Interesting. It's like peeking into different timelines. Hot damn. You just solved it. Yes, it's like they're on different timelines. So let's just bring this into alignment right now. I'll see if I can adjust it. Oh, fascinating. Thank you. Let's see if I can get this totally symmetrical. I think I've started to say this. No, wrong way. I think I've started to say this already. What you don't see off camera is that I have stacked a number of different colors because I was wondering if it would make a difference if I changed the color of my outfit, because we're trying to bring in all of the frequencies. So I don't have certain colors, but I was wondering if it would make any difference in the connection if I changed the color of my shirt, because we're like, who aren't we reaching? So the other day I wore black and it was cut off. And then it just, I know it seems like a bit of a stretch, like somebody who was 3rd dimensional minded would say, that's absurd. Of course, the color that you're wearing doesn't affect the circuitry. And I'm thinking, I think it actually really might, because we're trying to bring in white light. So what portion, if we need a full connection, and it's like a coaxial cable, it just occurred to me that I don't have anything red. I actually don't have. I'm just wondering now, what portion of the spectrum in like dresses do I not have? So I've got, what you don't see off camera is that I've got black, I've got pink, I've got 2 purple, and I've got a blue, and this is green. I don't have a red, I don't have a yellow. I'm wondering if it makes a difference, and I don't have anything that's rainbow color. Oh, I do have that one thing. I wonder if that has anything yellow in it. That's interesting. But this is how we solve the problems. You know, we play around with it. And it said, so Anna says, when I pressed the live button at the top of the video, it aligned them all. Thank you. I think you just did it. And the button appeared in red. Thank you. After I pressed it. Okay. It's getting brighter. Okay, great. So progress, family. All right. My glasses are my glasses are like $5 glasses from Walmart, and these are the lighter. They're like a little bit ruby red, teeny bit, and these are a little darker purple. I do have some blue ones. And these are only $5 glasses. I don't normally, I don't know. I need to go to the optometrist probably. They're not frames necessarily my preference. They're frames of, as long as I'm wishing for something, I just want my normal vision back. Very interesting. Okay, let's see. So does it make a difference if okay, should we test something right now? Let me test something right now. Bear with me. I'm going to go change this. 1 second and see if anything changes. 1 minute. Let's just play around with it. Whoops. Let's see what happens if I do this. So what happens if I come back in purple? We'll see. if anything happens. Oh, really? Anna says, you said we did it and it cut me off. I'm actually really liking the fact that this is so interactive. This is really helpful. Okay. Do any of you have any thoughts about how we might together tweak it, or ideas about where it's interesting though, because this is suddenly feeling more comfortable. This is also, I'm just thinking, this is also the biggest dress I own. It's something I sleep in. So, okay, Courtney says, once you addressed my comment, it shut off and said it couldn't find the page. Thank you. Okay. So, I'm just looking for parallels. So, okay, is it interrupting with more interaction? Is it, because I've also been trying to in the past, I've had difficulty, like I started to say, I haven't been able to get on any Zoom calls. You know how people say, well, you can record on Zoom, and for the last several years, it's not like we haven't tried this. I had a professional who was totally convinced that he could get it to work, and he came to the house and it wouldn't work. I can't get on Zoom. I don't know why I can't get on Zoom, but for some reason I've been unable. And even when I go back, like, well, we've switched timelines since then, so let's try it now. Let's try it now. Let's try it now. I've been, there was a point that I could, and then suddenly it won't work. Just Zoom stopped working, and so now I can't go on there anymore. And for now, I think like at least 2 years since Zoom stopped working for me, and we have tried everything we can think of with dedicated effort. Okay, let's figure it out though. So what else is available to try? How else might this work? We've got 5 viewers. Okay, so Courtney's had said, once you addressed, so once you addressed my comment, it said it couldn't find, it shut off and said it couldn't find the page. I'm just thinking what else that might connect to. Does it have something to do with addresses? So give us, so in terms of spiritual communication, collective bandwidth. Oh, so I also think that we're doing a combination of connecting and disconnecting. We're trying to, oh, I'm frozen on your screen. So Alicia Schwartz, where are you? Can you type it, your location in the United States? So you can hear me. You can, recorded it to check out. Oh, she recorded it to check out later. So, okay, thank you. This is really useful information. So Alicia Schwartz, my image froze, but you can still hear me. Okay, that's making a certain amount of sense, because I know that, thank you for that information. I know that in terms of levels of consciousness, you're going to like this information, all of you. In terms of levels of consciousness, when you go to, I don't know if any of you have ever gone under anesthesia or woken up from anesthesia or been rendered unconscious or fainted. I will tell you that the thing that leaves last, like usually you'll get tunnel vision first. The first thing to go away is light. And the last thing, the first thing to come, how am I saying this? The last thing sense to leave is sound. And the first thing to come back on is sound. So when you wake up from, like, people, that's why they say if you're in a coma or if somebody's in a coma, they may be able to hear you. We don't know, but often you can sit and read to a coma patient because they can hear you, even though they may not, they may be totally non-responsive, but they'll be able, the sense of hearing is the first to come online and it's the last to leave. So that is also true in my experience. It's also true of clairaudience. So, and with my history, okay, with my own personal history, because it was Joan of Arc and then massive clairaudience, and it's also clairaudience that goes back through collective consciousness, through multiple countries, and I'll tell you why. I'll get back to my lifetime as John Stanley, which I also have to talk about. There are certain massive disconnects that have to be reconnected in a different location. So just the same way we're doing this we're using various people to assist with the connections and disconnections. I think I was talking to Belinda Spence, but she wasn't the only one the other day who said she was having dreams where she was a switchboard operator. And that's exactly what we're doing. And that's what we're doing on the grids as well. The electrical grids on the planet, the circuitry, the electrical circuitry, the water. It's directly related to the not only the ley lines, but also the tributaries of water, the bringers of information, and who gets what at what time. And what we're ultimately trying to do is align all of the physical senses and all of the clairaudient senses into something that goes into a massive wedge, but it's a wedge shape. It's a triangular, it's basically a straight shot up where all of these things align and you get an equilateral triangle with a straight line in the middle, and it's kind of like the C's part, but you're going to wind up with something that looks like a windshield wiper, where where from center it's going to go off equally in two directions. That's what we're looking for, but the center line has to be plumb, totally plumb, and that's what we're working on doing. And when everything comes back on a line, it's going to rebuild the Tower of Babel, which is simultaneously two things. Like if you think of the Tower of Babel, it's where historically, or in mythology, except it's really real, it's a real thing, the Tower of Babel is a spiral structure that enabled all languages, everyone to understand one another all at once. What it also is, it provides union to all beings, and it's so multi-level, but it's also a structure, and it's also a spiral, and it's also so the original Babel was spelled Babel, and it was considered to be, someplace on a location, and they're talking about a location. But it's also the Tower of Babel by which children reach their parents, and all families recognize each other. And everyone recognizes that we are all a family, and suddenly all of the empaths and all of the, for want of a better term, the narcissistic energy that's not necessarily narcissistic, but the portion of the healthy portion of the ego that recognizes the self as sovereign, recognizes the giant I am, and all of has full connectivity to all of the empaths, so that both extremes, empath and narcissist, are all connected, balanced, and so there's appropriate self-recognition, appropriate self-love, and also appropriate recognition as all other beings as being self. And then you also have all of the telepathy. And all of the physical senses are all going to come online. You're going to be able to partake of all of the other senses, the physical senses that all other beings have. This is where we're headed. So if you know a bloodhound and you have full recognition of the bloodhound as yourself, you can partake of the physical ability to smell like a bloodhound. You're going to have this tremendous expansion on a physical level of the amount that you can smell, and it's like a whole world opens up that previously you couldn't partake of. The same is true of, I don't know, you name it. Basically the physical senses are also going to expand, and you're going to get the clair senses as well. So we're moving up galactically too, through the strata, and that's why it goes like this. It starts with the individual, and gradually we're going to walk up the ladder. But when we walk up the ladder, we're getting equal expansion in both directions. So it's turning into it's a lot like a book, but it turns into a pattern that goes like this. And we get this huge expansion, like a morning glory. It winds up, except it's not vacant, because you suddenly get this massive expansion, and that's when the drop becomes the ocean. And then you share that awareness. So it's lovely to have the awareness of yourself as a drop and yourself as the ocean. But what's really glorious is when all of the people in the physical surroundings and all of the world and all of the beings on Earth are also as aware as you are, because then you've got no density. There are no blockages. You still can carry physical form, but there's also a way that this is going to happen. So we're kind of mid-process now. So interesting that now it's lighter, right? So we're doing this in waves. And I'm just looking that it's funny because now I can see you. I can see myself. I can see a bit of my reflection. I can see all of the comments, and previously it was dim. So it was a little bit like a brownout, and now we're back. Okay. Fascinating. Anna says, do you think it was us bringing the alignment point lower to merge and pull up? Yes. And I think I need, actually, because you are, so for those of you who don't know Anna Reynolds, and also, Anna, I was going to talk about our group, the Queen's Chambers, that only has 5 members. Anna is one of them. And I'm in the center because it's not because I'm more important. I just have a particular job. But it's built a little bit like a pyramid. I guess I'm talking about it now. And from me, it goes out in 4 directions. And it's also kind of governed by elements, where there are 4 other women. And Anna, who's on this call right now, is the one that is the water element. And so in order to get everything to flow, and you just happen to join me now, we needed, I think we needed you specifically. Every person brings something very specific to the group. So it's not a public group. And, but I do talk about it to a degree. Some things that go in the group are strictly private. But at any rate, all of these groups, like I've got 3 groups that also in the Queen's Chamber, everyone is an administrator. So that at any point, all jobs are shared equally. But there's also appropriate specialties, skill sets. Okay, so it is actually a little bit brighter now. Fascinating. So I was going to talk about, I've got so much to talk about. And so I'm wearing purple now. So we've got purple, we've got green, and white. Fascinating. All right, I'm just thinking. All right. I was going to talk about the nature of water, the importance of water in the natural abundance system. I was going to talk a little bit about Um, Also, it's funny. I usually have tea or sometimes coffee and water next to me when I'm doing a live stream. Oh, it just occurred to me. Oh, I just got that. Okay. And so I didn't realize. So it's so funny. Sometimes when we, what did you attach the comment to? Wait. Oh, hello, love. Melissa says, hello, love. Um, yes, hello, love. Okay. So it's the flow of love. Okay. So what you don't see too is that, usually, so sometimes when I set up for these things, um, I will set up in advance, but there are very often things that happen, everything that happens. Oh, and Cassidy came in too. So interesting. She had gone to work. She came back. Um, she left, and then Stella whined. Um, Everything that happens in these live streams happens for a reason. All of it. Um, in all my previous live streams, I don't think I have ever done, and I didn't do this today. I'm looking and I'm aware that I did something automatically, and I'm just noticing what I did and what it means. So usually I have tea or coffee, and then today I have a big glass of water with rose quartz in it. The other thing that I have, I didn't want to have to get up. So I have this thing. This is how I charge my water, all my drinking water. I drink distilled water, and then I put it in here. Usually, oh, it's so interesting because I took the thing off yesterday. Usually, Dr. Emoto, usually I have I have a message usually that is facing the water because I program the water. So I've got in this thing, I've got my purple plate. I've got two purple. Oh, it just occurred to me. I've got two purple plates in here. If you can see them, I've got a large purple plate. Whoops. And I have a small one that used to be a dog tag. And then I've got two rose quartz, and I have also another chevron amethyst. So a small round purple one, a large round purple one, two slightly different size rose quartz, but rose quartz is also in that glass, and then chevron amethyst. And so it's interesting because usually I put written words, and written words would be linear, wouldn't it? But I haven't put that in there. I charged it with my intention. The other thing, so we're talking about balancing scales and bringing it all in alignment. Those two things that I will consume, I will drink. Those are on my left. So there are two containers of different sizes, and those are on my left. And then on my right, because I was going to talk about it, is this thing, which which represents. This is a method by which I was working with I started by working with a client who, she came to me for a session, and this thing I put a living plant in it. It's money crest. I've used this container, which represents the earth, because it's hand blown glass. It's swirled glass, blue and green, and it reminds me of all of the oceans on Earth, and it also reminds me of Earth, and I'm using it to represent the natural flow of abundance water. The client that I started working with one individual who had such extreme sensitivity. I mean, extreme sensitivity. And she's not the only person who's had this. I have had a lot of people. If they could come to me in a line. She had such extreme sensitivity that any energetic manipulation, like I had suggested, can we do EFT? And we couldn't do EFT. she had a severe reaction to 3 drops of chamomile. So there are, and that's actually that's not an unheard of thing. There are some systems. One of the reasons when a lot of galactic beings come down, they have different levels of sensitivity that are so extremely finely tuned that this things that we take for granted and we think are nothing can easily put them into anaphylactic shock. So, for example, the slightest bit of peanut oil, if somebody has anaphylactic shock, or if somebody has a peanut sensitivity, they can't have any trace of peanut anything because it will cause their whole system to shut down. There was an alien. They had that difficulty with an alien. There was some alien that was medically treated, and they gave, without thinking that their system was any different since they look humanoid, they had applied a Band-Aid. It was just a simple little Band-Aid, and the sensitivity to the chemicals was so violent that it put the I'm not even sure what kind of race of ET it was, but it made them go into anaphylactic shock, and they died from a Band-Aid. So there are actually some starseeds who have systems that are so finely tuned. And the reason we're having a hard time, we are very resistant to landing, is because the closer we get to certain frequencies affect us so badly. So I've been working with Falcon Britt lately, and she's another one who has a system that's very much like that. And so a lot of the at any rate, going back to the woman that I was working with, I was trying to find a way to work with her energy we required a bridge because my energy is extremely extreme. You know, I've got this humongous bandwidth, so I can't work with her directly because it would, blast her into oblivion. I mean, I did work with her on a call, but in terms of like, how are we going to assist with this particular adjustment that you need? And I came upon this solution, and it was a good workable situation where I said, what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to use a surrogate, and I'm going to treat the surrogate as though it were you. I'm going to make it's a bit of practical magic, but it's not magic woo-woo. There's nothing creepy about it. It's incredibly benevolent. I chose a plant that would represent her, and then I put it in clean, pristine, distilled water. And then it was a plant that was somewhat weak, but it was alive. And then I tended to the plant over a period of time. I put it by my bed, and I deliberately brought the plant back to health, and I sent the intention into the plant, and I also said to the plant that you represent her. So as she's going to heal as you heal. So as you grow stronger, as you flourish, as you expand and flower, that's what's going to happen with this woman. So then I did it again for the earth. And so this is now represents the abundant system on earth. So what I've done, what I'm trying to do with this now, because I've adjusted it, I do it incrementally. So first it represented her, and then I changed the water, and I said, now that she's kind of taken care of, we're going to move it in or out. We're going to move it out, and we're going to have this be a surrogate for the earth. So now that, and so we're working a lot with scales. I've also got a money tree that's really pretty enormous. It's especially funny considering that I'm so broke. Cancel. But so far, financial abundance. I've got a lot of abundance in many different ways. Tremendous amount of energetic flow. But the only form that it has not taken sufficiently is financial coming directly to me. It does. It just doesn't. It's the full flow has not yet landed. It will. but what I've got in here now, the plant that I've got growing, I chose it carefully. This is called money cress. It's an aquatic plant. It can go in water directly. It can also go, it doesn't mind mud and earth either. You can plant it in, but it likes mud, but it also can go directly in water. So I've got this all over the house in various places. I've got it in the fish tank, and it grows like crazy. But I also have taken a whole bunch of it outside, and I've got huge containers of it, like tubs, totes of it, and it flows over and then it picks up on the ground. Apparently it also likes to be a ground cover. But in here, I've also got algae, which I happen to really love algae, and it's also very, very nourishing. And in this thing, I also have an octopus, which is an ET species that lives in the water. So this is representing all of the different networking, and you can easily use practical magic. Magic is about, you're not necessarily, you're partnering with the properties that an object already has, and you're asking it for its participation. You're allowing it to be a witness to your own, and then you're taking a strong intention and kind of using this as a bridge or using it as a witness. And then so I want something that, so it's also interesting because if I'm talking about symbolism, this thing's plastic. This represents the ocean. Most of the time I wouldn't use plastic. That's why we choose glass, because you can clean it, and glass is also a natural material. And I want, so this is a very good container to use if I'm working with the energy of the Earth's oceans. But it's also kind of interesting because I'm deliberately putting plastic in the ocean toward a purpose. Anyway, the other thing I've got in here, I did doctor this thing pretty heavily. If I can reach in, I've got citrine, and I've got this lovely crystal. I love this one. This is what I always refer to this as my workhorse crystal. It's one of the ones that's beaten up. I use it to represent light workers who just do the job. Like this crystal it's been buried, and then it's like it's done its job and I'm gone. It's been buried in gravel, and then it goes in there. It's not, I'm not going to say it's not pretty, but it's got a lot of character. It's a little bit like, I don't know. It reminds me of a workhorse, like I'm here to do this job. I just show up, and I show up chipped, but it's got so many good qualities, and I really am very fond of this crystal. I'm glad it didn't blip. And I've got a whole bunch of other things in here. Who else is in here? Oh, so I've got another rose quartz that it's interesting because now it's covered in algae, so it's a combination of green and pink. But and then this goes in my prosperity corner, but it also goes, I keep a lot of living things in my prosperity corner. It's not just about bringing money to me. That's also where Carmen, my lizard, lives. She lives on the windowsill in the prosperity corner. She drinks out of the fountain. She drinks out of this. She sometimes eats the money cress, and I let her because she needs food. Anyway, sorry. I'm just going to dry this off. So I was going to talk a little bit about the properties of water as we, and shared physical ailments and shared healing. I was going to talk about the financial abundance system. I would like to talk about both. And healing, and how you heal certain things. Certain things can be healed there are different adjustments that are required. So the networking that we're doing, some of it is artificial and networking that's very electric or mechanical or somewhat more masculine because it's electric, and masculine energy is the electric force, and it's very direct. It also goes up water. You can run electric current upstream. You can apply electricity And, you know, ask anybody who's ever peed on an electric fence. Uh, you know, as soon as the water makes contact and you get a full circuit, and you're going to get zapped. Adjusting the quality of the water is one of the ways that we're adjusting the energetic circuitry, and to a degree, it determines the quality of the water determines what we can send through on it, or what. So as I feel like I'm not explaining this well. One of the things that I've been working with a lot is, and it's also the reason that that I know I had to gain 50 pounds, which I didn't want to do, but I knew that I had to be able to fat carries more water than, I didn't need protein. So it's less about my own personal physical health, even though they've told me that that's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. For the time at hand, my job is to roll over a certain quantity of energy needs to get from one side, one place to another. And then I'm going to go back to my hearing, because it's directly related. The purpose, the job that I'm doing on Earth is to use my body and my own personal experience as a surrogate for Mother Earth, basically. So chapter by chapter, it's a little bit like being a shapeshifter. I will take certain portions or certain like if you go back to the analogy of the wagon wheel, if I'm the hub of a wagon wheel, and every let's say it's a wagon wheel, but it's also a little bit like a spider web, because the way a wagon wheel is that it has a hub, and then it has a rim around the outside, and then you've got the wedges in the middle, like a pizza. But the way the network works is that it has also 3 rings. So you've got you have the rim, the exterior rim, and then it also has 2 tiers. So it's a little bit more like a spider web. And then in each of those sections, we have a different correction, or the same correction 3 times. So you're going to do a large correction, and then you're going to do a mid-range correction. We're bringing a certain scale, we're taking the center and we're bringing it out this way, but we're also taking a large thing and bringing it in. And these things are happening simultaneously. So if you think about the shape of like an X-wing fighter, which is a strange analogy, but yeah, that's what we're doing. If you put an X in a circle, and then you take 2 of the pieces out. So we've got 2 solid and 2 space. And that's basically the geometry that we're working with. But then we're also rotating that so that, and we're also bringing it down in a spiral. So it's like constructing a spiral stairway, but it also, there's a portion that never goes away. So the hub, if you can, my job is to be like the center column on a spiral stairway that functions like an elevator shaft, which can stop at any step. And the step is going to be in any number one of these directions. There's going to be space one place, and there's going to be a step in the other place. So depending on what is needed, depending on what the correction is, we can either go more solid or more spacious, depending on what needs to happen. And then you do that by adjusting the quality of the energy. So for example, when somebody comes to me and every single person that comes to me is a representative of a large group, and they come to me basically as a representative, as a surrogate, and whatever adjustment I make with them happens for the entire group in that region. And it's a little bit like we're going to fix one patient in the hospital ward, and all of the hospital, that particular ward, is going to get fixed. So I pick up a certain portion of their energy. And sometimes I will add my energy, and sometimes we're just going to find some way to make the correction over time. And then when all of the instruments are in tune, I mean, I know I'm switching a lot of analogies, mixing metaphors, but when all of the instruments, all of the things are in tune, then we're ready to move the next level up. So as we go, it's basically like we're fixing one wagon wheel and making everything, that whole thing correct. And then we're moving up a level and we're making that entire wagon wheel correct. And then we're basically building up and up and up and up. And we're correcting the tower. We're bringing a correction to the Tower of Babel. The Tower of Babel was Babel, but it's also Babbel, like babies babbling, because a mother and a child will have telepathic communication about when is it time to be fed, and when are they ready to be weaned. There's what is required. Is it time to go potty? Is it time to be let out? So as our senses are coming online, we're adding different species to the network from the human beings, from those in the center of the house. Let's just say it's humans. Our family pets are taking on the role of bridge between the human as a species and also the individual, but a lot of us are already very connected to nature. So let's say we're doing the work on behalf of the species, because a lot of the other humans are having a significantly more difficult time than some of us who've already done it, for whom this feels natural. We're doing it on behalf of them. And then we're going to kind of walk them up the stairs so nobody travels alone. And that's also why witches have familiars. So you have, and some of us are, I mean, in my position, I know I said, for those of you who didn't join me the other day, in my house, it would help if I had a lot more animals. It would really greatly assist me if I had a lot more animals the way I used to have. If I had access to a lot more animals of different sizes and different species. I'm doing the best I can in a one-bedroom apartment. I'm in a one-bedroom apartment. I've been here for 9 years. We've got 2 dogs. We have 2 large goldfish. We have calico. We very much want a cat. We can't have a cat right now. But we do need one. I do absolutely need access to that too. We've got 2 guinea pigs in 2 different cages. Every location in this apartment represents a different climate or a different place on Earth. We've got a gecko in a tank over there. We've got a bunch of microclimates. We have a ball python, a corn snake. We have a cockatiel. We've got a bearded dragon in the other room. We've got a loose house tortoise. We have an axolotl in the other room. Is that everybody? I feel like I forgot somebody. I don't know. But I could work a lot easier. It would be much more comfortable if I had a much wider array. I used to do a lot of wildlife rehabilitation, and animals assist empaths in maintaining the amount of movement that they need, in maintaining their amount of connection, their connection to nature. It helps take a lot of the edge off. They help with the processing of the energy. They really help a lot with the transmutation. It's not, boy, did I take a lot of, I took a lot of criticism for the amount of pets I had when I'm broke. You know, you shouldn't even have them. I need them to do the work that I'm doing. It's required. It would really help if I had access to horses. I'd had horses, but it would really help if I had that too. It would help if I had more dogs. All the dogs represent different groups too. So animals will come in and go out depending on the adjustments that I need to make. It would really help if I had goats. It would help if I had access to honeybees. Yeah. So it's interesting because as the energy picks up, I start to move too. Mobilization is really important. As you pick up a larger bandwidth, you need to keep it running. It assists with all the connectivity. Regarding the quality, so I was going to talk a little bit about food and about food and water, the qualities of, as one of the things that's happening is that as we link the network, particularly the network of water, particularly the natural network, the higher network, runs on different things. And the things that we pay attention to and the things that we deem important, because it's an expansion, it's ultimately expansion. You need both. I'm not saying that the higher is more important. Both are important, but if you have to know how much of each you're carrying and allot the appropriate amount of resources and the right kind of resources to each one. For example, I only have 2 strands of physical DNA, but I'm imprinted for 48 strands, and only 2 of those are physical. So as I work with people, when I take on a certain portion of their energy, because I can bring a mass change, a huge change to, I can help them flush out certain densities at a much faster rate than they can. So it's a little bit like changing the aperture on a hose. Sometimes when people are, especially when they're early in their process or when they hit a pocket of density, they can't clear it fast enough, as fast as it needs to be cleared. Like if you think about a pressure cooker, if you're to puncture put a little hole in the pressure cooker, and that stuff comes shooting out like a jet, it's like like a water pick, and you don't want to get in the way of that. It's it's painful, and when a whole bunch of energy goes through something that's very dense, if too much goes through, it's going to produce heat or possibly spontaneous combustion. Whole bodies can die because there's too much energy too quickly, particularly if it's somebody who's in a great deal of resistance. You're going to have to dilate. You can't push before you're dilate. You need a wide doorway, and then more can flood out. So that's basically the process that we're working with, is the mid-range bandwidth, because we can't, the certain barriers are there for a reason, and it's to prevent one of the so I should say it this way, one of the things I can do is I've got enough, I have the ability that if somebody is getting blasted with too much energy, that it's legitimately too much for them. Their body, like this person's body is really struggling. I don't mean just pain, because sometimes we feel pain when the energy moves through resistance, and the resistance on its way out. As this stuff gets flushed, we often experience it as pain, and it helps if we're not also in resistance to the pain, because that's going to make it worse. We need to, you have to know when you're just in pain but nothing's wrong, but it's actually part of the healing process or part of the flushing process. When pain is progress. Sometimes pain is progress that you can feel. This is the healing process. Like if you've got an apartment that's jam-packed with problems, and your job is to, so let's say it's your apartment, you've got a lot of baggage to unpack, or it's your body and you're carrying a lot of resistance. You want all of it to leave. So you open the front door and you stand in the front door with the door open, and every single unwanted guest is going to leave your apartment, and you stand in the doorway and you experience all of it on its way out. So the feeling, whatever it was that you swallowed, that you didn't express at the time, or anything that for whatever reason in your ancestry wasn't dealt with, the pain, it's kind of like soul vomiting. Nothing's wrong with your soul to begin with, but it's a little bit like soul vomit. And however it felt when you swallowed it, you're going to re-experience it on its way out. You're going to make eye contact with this, son of a bitch, here comes the ex. You're going to make eye contact, and all of that feeling is going to come out, but then they're going to leave, and then they're going to be gone. They're not going to come back in the apartment. It's like that. And then let's say they all file out. All of the teachers, whoever, said you were dumb in front of the whole class when you were in 3rd grade, and all of the problems. Oh, it's so interesting. Now it's dim again. Okay. What just happened? Who's on? So I see Falcon. I see, is that Kimberly Hall? I can't, because all of a sudden, all right, great. So now let's bring in another adjustment. What needs to happen? Okay, something's happening with my head right now, which means more is coming up to be adjusted. Let's see, because now my screen went dim. So what else needs to, now it's getting darker. Okay, it's getting darker. Wow, fascinating. Okay, so let's try this. I'm going to try to tap on my EFT because now I can't see myself anymore. Okay, let's see. I'm going to try and put my head right in the center. Oh, and then I have to remind me. I'm going to try and adjust this so that my head is just in the center. Can we do this? Will that help? Nope. Nope, I want to do this. Let's see. Oh, how weird. All right. So interesting, because now I can't see anybody's comments. I can't see who's here. I'm going to try to get my head right in the center. I can't hold it here for very long, though, because I'm stretching up in my chair. Okay. So what has to happen right now? I'm going to tap on my karate chop point, because that brings I'm also going to take my shoes off and put my feet flat on the floor and see if that helps. Can we all share a breath? Let's see what happens. Can we share a breath to the count of 4 in and 4 out? Hang on. Let's try this. If you're listening, let's just see if this does anything. Ready? We're going to inhale. Exhale. Did that do anything? Let's try it again. Inhale. Let's try it one more time. Inhale. When you tap on your karate chop point, I wonder if does it make any difference if I do it on this hand? No, it's not changing. Okay, hang on. Let's see if anything else. I'm going to drink 3 from the individual glass. What needs to happen right now? I'm just looking. Okay, let's try this and see what has to happen. I'm going to put my glasses there. I'm going to switch the water and see what happens. This is my individual glass. I'm going to take 3 more sips. I'm going to move it to the right. I'm not going to drink out of the, I'm not, I also put, by the way, I put salt in this one. I'm going to move this over here. I'm going to see what happens if I take this mid-range, which means it's the group energy. It's the group energy, but not the earth energy. This is the group energy. I'm going to move this over here too. I'm going to put some of the group energy into, I'm going to replenish my own cup. What does that do? Oh, it's getting darker. Okay, so we're going more into individuality. Oh, fascinating. Okay, that's a hint. The screen's getting darker as I put more of the group energy into my own personal water glass. So we're going more. So that tells me that the energy is heading further down into individuation. So it would be like getting more egotistical, and it's also male because I moved it onto the right side, which is the male energy. Okay, let's see what happens. If any of you have any idea, if there are any changes wherever you are, could you put whatever changes you're noticing and also put your location wherever you are in the world? 1 second, let's see what happens. What happens if let's just play with it. Because now it's the darkest it's been. I can't see any comments. I can see my own reflection, but I can't see that there. Hang on a minute. Let's see what happens if I put, so this is the group energy, and now they're all on the right. No change. What did I not try? Okay, I will put the mid one on here. What happens if I do that? Is there any change? So now I've got the global one and the individual one on the right. What happens if I do this? So I'm going to put the Earth, the ocean one, and the group one on the right. I'm sorry, on the left, which would be the feminine side. So the group is receiving, and then I'm going to put this one, which would represent the singular and the ego, and I'm going to put this on the right. See what happens. No, so far no change. What happens if I do this now? Everything exists times of God's only destroyed and created all. Yes, right. Not good, bad, but not. Oh no, wait a minute. I'm gonna do those separately. Just a second. We're just gonna see if we can affect a change. I'm not gonna use EFT and access at the same time. I'm gonna use access first. Everything that exists times of God's only destroyed and created all. Yes, right. Wrong, good, bad, but not. All nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. Everything that exists times of God's only destroyed and created all. Yes, right. Wrong, good, bad, but not. All nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. Pot and pocket. Okay, let's try. Okay, I'm call upon all the benevolence in the universe to assist us with the following intent. Oh, maybe I'll go get that. Wait a minute, maybe I'll go do that. Where is my? Oh, wait, oh, what just happened? Okay, that was interesting too. Okay, something definitely just happened, because first it was a tiny little screen in the center, and now it's the light is just coming back on, but I can't really see any comments, but my screen, the portion of the screen that I'm seeing myself in, is this big, and it's over here. Is there a way to move this over? Can I recenter it? I didn't touch anything. So I can move that up a little bit. Well, okay. So now what do you see? Fascinating. I actually really like this process. Thank you for helping. Let's work on gratitude. So that took just a few minutes. I'm actually wondering if I want to go get, it's funny because I almost brought it in here and then I didn't. Where is my prayer? I think I'm going to read that. Can you hang on just 1 second? It's just in the other room. I'm going to go grab it really quick. I've been deliberately drinking my water 3 sips at a time for catalyst for change. Okay. Do I want to do 5? I'm going to drink 5 sips of water, and then I'm going to go get something, And then am I synchronized too? Is there time delay? No, I guess not. Okay. There's not a time delay when I speak, but I am seeing two versions of myself. And they're one's larger and one's smaller. I'm seeing my own reflection, but I'm also seeing myself in the screen. And it's okay. And then it's on an angle too. So I just am noticing, oh wait, okay. I'm making some connections now because as I do this gesture, it's making, okay, so it's making a triangle, but I'm seeing it reversed. So how do I, okay, hang on. Oh, that's fun. Wait a minute. Let me see if I can get this aligned. Yes. Okay, what has to happen here? Just a second. Let's figure it out. Oh, did anybody just hear that? Thank you. Just as, this is what I mean by paying attention to your surroundings and cooperation with all of the animals who are informing the process, because just as I did this, my bird, who was over there on top of the windowsill, went down to the top of her cage, and then she jumped she moved down a whole level, and now she's on top of the guinea pig cage, which is shaped like an arc. Hang on a second. Let me open that just a minute, sweetie. Let's figure this out. Please stay on the line. Don't go anywhere. I want to go get the prayer, and I'm going to move the bird. 1 second. I'm going to move her to my shoulder. Can you hear? And I'm going to open this cage. So I know you can't see it, but I'm going to open the cage. 1 second. I'm going to go get the prayer. I've got the bird on me. And so now the guinea pig is squealing. Thank you. This is very helpful. So let's try this. I didn't think about this before, but I think we're going to try it. Can anybody see me? Because I can't see myself. The screen went dim. So I've got this prayer. So now she's on my shoulder. We got, just as I said that, there was a squeal from the guinea pig. She's not hungry or anything. She's got all sorts of things in there. Nothing is random if it happens on a reading. I passed my bedroom to get the prayer. I passed this and I thought maybe I would want it, so I'm bringing it in. And I also passed these. Were also on my windowsill, and it seems to me that we might want them. They're two celestial crystals, and this is a smoky celestial, and this is a clear celestial. Clear celestials are more rare, much more rare than smoky celestials are more common. They are used for, you can use a smoky celestial for assisting bringing light codes into the physical body. It assists the physical body with light integration. And this, it's kind of like this is they do the same thing, but this has more grounding properties. Or grounding is this reaches down farther. And then this is almost like light body because it's not a smoky. So well, now I'm thinking, what do I want to do with this in terms of circuitry? Because they're going to have slightly different effects. What's going to happen? I wonder so right now we're talking about the amount of light that's getting through. And I'm aware that that the screen size has a lot to do with it. So more light. So if you're more of a given energetic signature is going to come through, say, on a big screen than it is on your phone. So it has to do with the power of the gaze, the amount of light that is meeting somebody's eyes, their sense of vision. It determines it affects the amount of and given energetic signature that is received. So if you see a movie star on a big screen, it's going to impact you differently. If a movie or whatever, it's going to impact you differently if you see it on a big screen than it is. It has a different quality if you watch it on a computer, if you watch it on a television, if you watch something on your phone. The amount of energy that comes through is dramatically different in terms of what you pick up. So I haven't decided exactly how we're going to employ these yet, but I feel like they're supposed to be here. So let's see if we can get the screen to come back on. This is very, very helpful. I call upon all of the benevolence in the universe to assist me with the following intent. I'm reading this prayer that I keep, I laminated it with tape and duct tape, and I keep it in my purse. I really should know it by now, by heart, and I kind of do, which is why I can say it very quickly. I employ it for a lot of things. I'll post this on my wall later on Facebook. I call upon all of the benevolence of the universe to assist us with the following intent. Please clear a path, open all doors, remove all blocks which may stand in the way of this that we're asking for today. We ask and intend for the appropriate network at this time to be fully connected. We open ourselves up for appropriate connectivity at this time. Let's ask for appropriate connectivity at this time so that we bring online the divine blueprint, and any obstacle that is not serving our highest purpose, we ask for that to be gone. May any and all that are all things that are interfering with our request be removed, dissolved, and cleared. May any person or entity who is currently meddling, manipulating, asserting their influence, or interfering with our highest and greatest intent be neutralized and unable to do so any longer. As the ultimate sovereign ruler of our kingdom and creator of our reality, we declare this, and as we say, it is so. So here's a question. Should I be doing this for the group or for myself? Do I need to do this just for, okay, hang on a minute, there's a wave. There's a wave of somewhat dizziness. From behind, it came forward and went like this. Okay, so let me see what has to happen. So can I do it for myself on behalf of the group? If I don't say we and instead I say I, yes, I'm getting a yes. Okay. So I'm going to redo this with the intention that what I do for myself, okay, I see what happened. Yes, okay. No, I got it. Okay, now it's interesting because I'm kind of flipped. Okay, hang on a minute. I understand what we're doing. I understand the juncture so we're making this tight little turnaround right here, and we're switching. I see it. Okay, bear with me for a minute. Please bear witness while I do this work. I'm going to use the first person. I call upon all the benevolence in the universe to assist me with the following intent. Please clear a path, open all doors, remove all blocks which may stand in the way of this that I'm asking for today. I ask and intend for all circuitry in my body to be appropriately connected at this time, to be appropriately cleared, to bring online all things that are to bring online all of the appropriate connections, and disconnect from anything that is not serving the highest purpose and the divine plan at this time. The highest timeline, the highest plan, the greatest good. May any and all things that are interfering with my request be removed, dissolved, and cleared. May any person or entity who is currently meddling, manipulating, asserting their influence, or interfering with my highest and greatest intent be neutralized and unable to do so any longer. As the ultimate sovereign ruler of my kingdom and creator of my reality, I declare this, and as I say, it is so. I ask for every benevolent force to offer any and all assistance to me. Please ensure that I receive supreme clarity and become one with my highest truth. May I see the truth of all things. May the truth be revealed. Restore to me now the divine blueprint. Please bring to me all the tools I need to bring about the fulfillment of my intent. Please ensure that I have all the means to attain and use these tools in the highest and best way. May I receive all of the insights that I need to fully understand the truth of myself, my situation, and the actions I must take to achieve this goal of full connectivity and the divine blueprint. Restored. Optimized. May I receive the inspirations that tell me exactly the best and highest actions to take and the perfect time to help achieve this endeavor. May I receive the highest guidance available to keep me on my path, and may I always understand fully the messages that are coming to me in a way that Spirit intended for me to understand them. May I be open to receive and understand truth no matter how difficult, so long it is for my highest good. May I uncover and overcome any and all things which have previously stood in my way. Please deliver strength and courage to me in great abundance to ensure my ability to create positive change in my motion forward toward my intent of full connectivity, full restoration of the optimal divine blueprint. I ask and intend this for myself. I cast this intention out into the universe in full knowing and confidence and faith that it is done. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So be it, so be it, so be it. Amen. Okay, so now I understand what we're doing. So this commences the individuation portion, the individual portion, and from this portion, we wrap it around, we do it again for the small group. My nose is running too. Okay, so it's interesting because the screen got darker. Did we go down further into density? Hang on a second. All right. I can't, so interesting. I can't see anything now. Can you bring my, I'm just getting this. Okay. Okay, I see what we're doing. So as the artificial, this is actually a very positive thing, as the artificial network is becoming dimmer, we're relying more and more. Our optimal natural network is coming online. So I just spoke to Aurora about this recently, which is exactly what we were talking about. I was talking about it with other people too. Bringing that, we're in a transition point where it's a little bit like we have 1 foot in the boat and 1 foot in the pier. Or I should say the pier being the stationary portion, the artificial. And we're merging the artificial with the natural, but not in a way that's the transhumanist, the stuff that we don't all want. What we're allowing appropriate technological assistance for the period of time, for the margin of time, that it genuinely assists us until all of our full restorative properties are, and our full regeneration restores us to our natural health. So that's all coming back on too. So right now I'm going to see, since this is very much a work in progress, I can't see who's even on the call. Like, it could be that nobody's there. So interesting the way this, so it's not like I'm ever alone. That's not it. I know that if I can't see any of you, I've got spirit guides all around me. I've got a bird on my shoulder. I'm surrounded by water, which is conscious, and plants and animals and crystals, and both of these are right here. What happens if I do this? Okay, what happens if I do this? Does this make any difference? It's getting darker. So interesting. So what happens if I go back to here? If I am a connective circuit in the center, there's an algebra to all of this stuff. So it's just a matter of fiddling around with it over and over and over. And we might not be able to do it all at once. Obviously we haven't, But this call has been extremely helpful. So what do you want to, sometimes we can't force an intention. We can just play around, and because energy is going to take the path of least resistance. Sometimes you want to build and sometimes you want to allow. We need both extremes. We need both tools in the toolkit in order to be, and also there's a massive scale. So sometimes you have to apply the inverse wave on a very, very big scale. And sometimes it's just a minute fluctuation. Sometimes the inverse wave can be used to kill something, and sometimes it can be used to very much make something alive. So it depends. You have to know which direction you want to go in and what needs to happen in order to apply the right thing. But sometimes we have to be able to identify what the problem is. And sometimes we delegate a lot to levels that are higher than us, because the further, oh, I've got my itchy eye. The further down you come into form, it does get denser. So very often, certain the quality of information, the ways that information, say it this way, the ways that information can reach you is different when you're in a state of density or a state of greater density, which is why you could access crystals. If a crystal ever blips on you, if you want to, she's pulling my hair now. If you want to see if you can get it back, if that's the thing you want to do, don't call the crystal back. Put yourself where the crystal is. You could lower your density, or you could go down in timelines yourself and see if you can go, if you land yourself more into, more onto a lower timeline, or if you ground yourself more, you're going to get closer to your crystal. I should say the more you stabilize yourself, I should say it that way, because it's not about going down onto a timeline. You want the highest possible grounded timeline, but what we're really after is a connected circuit. So you need to be fully grounded and fully optimized up too. You need to be totally open on the top end and also fully connected, appropriately connected. All right. So what needs to happen right now? What wants to happen right now? I did have a lot of, I've got all of these notes. And it's so interesting because I had intended to come on and just again with a financial network, which I really want to talk about. And I want to talk about that in relation to the dominant financial system that's still in 3D. Not for much longer. I mean, they can have it, but that one's going to crash. So that's not the one we want. I wanted to mention also the global people's monetary system, the one that's associated largely with rituals. I was going to talk about that, but I don't want to do that on this call because we've got this other thing going on. We're working with optimization levels and equalization of light and dark. Equalization of, so interesting. I would be so fascinating to know what all of you can see, but I can't read any of your comments because the comment stream is gone. But now I'm seeing my own reflection in the computer that's like life size, but I'm also seeing a mid-range, maybe half the screen image of myself on the live screen, in the live stream, and all of a sudden it's, hang on a minute. Okay, I'm taking 5 sips of water from the right. Let's see what happens. So far, nothing. But there seems to be a little bit of a time delay, right? So it'll be so interesting to me to see if my live stream gets taken down, if it remains up. Oh, also pay attention. So you can send me all these reports if you want to, because it actually really does make a difference. I wanted to talk about the properties of water, what we're doing with salt water, what we're doing with sugar water, diabetes, all sorts of, there are stories that I feel like if I tell you the stories, you're really going to have a comprehensive understanding of how it works. It's really fascinating. I wanted to mention about Tomer, but I want to put that in. I want to put that in a live stream, and I want it to be light. I want to be able to see it. When it is fully operational, we should be able to have appropriate connectivity. Oh, that's right. And then Tomer had that dream. So I really do want to talk about Tomer. I don't know if I want to do it in this live stream. He also had a dream a while ago. Tomer is just doing spectacular work in Israel, clearing for the masculine collective. And I've been working with him now for a while. The first session we ever had together was unlike any session I'd ever had, because usually my sessions with people, they're always sequential, and then they almost always go over an hour, and only once or twice has a session stopped. I think one time I had a woman whose session was 45 minutes, and I was really shocked because that never happens. But Tomer's session was really shocking, because the first session I had with him, excuse me, that's not random either. The first session I had with Tomer went only 15 minutes because of the nature of the work, that the adjustment needed to happen, and the work that he's doing for the masculine collective in Israel. The nature of that energy was so dense that it only went 15 minutes. And instead of, like, we didn't do a 7-hour session with him, we didn't do even a 4-hour session or even a 2-hour session. We did 4 15-minute sections. So the fact that that's what the way his he paid for one session, but we broke it up into 4 15-minute sessions, because I wanted to make sure he got the full allotment of time for his money. But then also subsequently we have continued to work with him. So now he's we've worked a lot in Queen's Chambers. We've worked a lot with Tomer, where other members of Queen's Chambers have also worked with him, and he's doing some phenomenal work. And we also work in Dreamtime a lot, where he had a dream, and I'm thinking about this now. I haven't thought about that in a while, but he had a dream. When was that? Tomer, if you're on, see if you can remember when you had that dream that you came to my house. Tomer had a dream that he came to my house, and it was a farmhouse. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't see your comment. But this is what I remember about it. You said that I was married, and I was living in a farmhouse, and you came over to my house, and you did something outside my house with the and it was a farmhouse, I think you said. And I'm in an apartment now, but I used to live in a farmhouse. And he said that he did something with the electricity outside, where he accidentally unplugged the electricity from doing something outside the house, and it turned off the hot water inside the house. And the other thing he mentioned was that my black dog, Luke, came out to say hello, not in a hostile way, but he remembers that my dog came over to greet him. But it turned off the hot water in my house because he accidentally unplugged the electricity. So this may not be Tomer per se. It could be the lineage or the lineup, because it's in a fractal system, and some people will carry, in all of the men that are kind of lined up carrying various percentages, because we move the energy by percentages through a lineup of people. So sometimes you will get one person, and then as you move up, you'll meet like basically the same exact energy, but it's coming through a different person. but you're dealing with like a higher version of the same lesson, or lower, depending on what direction you're moving. I just think it has to do with, I think it has to do with Josh Cram. I really do. Where someplace in this lineup, something got unplugged. The electric got unplugged, or something was severed. So it would be the masculine energy was somehow severed, or there's been too much of a bandwidth differential, so now there's a cutoff, but oh wait, now I'm thinking, wait a minute. So the hot water, something got turned off. I did ask, so I just have to go back into my own memories for a second. There's a reason that we kind of rewind through our own memories. I do remember I had asked Josh, I said I really wanted a hot water hose. I gave dogs baths outside a lot. And one time I remember mentioning that it would make my life so much easier if I had a hot water hose. And at one point he had said he would help me get one, whatever. It's totally not important. But, and I moved ahead, and now there's no place you could put a hose anyway. But there's some link between there and what Michael said. I'm sorry, this is a bit of personal information. I also remember one time saying to my ex-husband, Michael, talking about the afterlife. And one time in our marriage, we were getting along fine. And there was just one time where I was saying something. It was something like, if you die before me, come back and do something with the electricity so I know it's you. And it's one of those things you just kind of flip off when you're talking. So I know it's you. If you die before me, promise me, you're going to come back and play a visit. Do something with the electricity, and that way I'll know it's you. And Michael had said, he's very funny, and Michael had said, I'm going to turn off the furnace. And knowing what his relationship was with me in the past, with Joan of Arc, and he was the Dauphin that I put on the throne, and turning off the furnace, knowing like my relationship to heat and my whole past life history, it was definitely a bit of a barb, and exactly the kind of thing that he normally says, where it's not a kindness. It would mean that I would have to go down into the basement, and it is exactly the sort of thing that he would do. But I'm wondering now if, because none of this shit's random. None of it is random. And every place where there are crossovers. So where was something turned off? There's a crossover there between wanting a hose or wanting something to keep running. What do you want to keep running? What do you need to be disconnected? And the flow of water. There's very much a bunch of, it's like a ganglion of connections and disconnections that are producing certain effects. And if you want, so I guess there's a, and now I'm just thinking, I'm making certain connections in my own mind between what needs to be connected and what needs to be disconnected. Various resistance levels. Where is the highest level of resistance? How are you going to get past that? Tomer is doing tremendous work with the flow of water, and also additives to water. We've actually got people eating for Tomer right now, people in the circuit, because he's doing so much clearing. The same way you don't want to eat at the same time that you're vomiting, because he's doing so much energetic clearing, but he requires certain frequencies, certain frequencies that you would get from food. We actually have people in the network who are eating certain things for him to send energy for him. So they're going to ingest it, something that he either can't get or can't tolerate, or his stomach can't handle it, and we're having somebody else eat it and deliberately send him those frequencies to make the appropriate connection. So you apply so the same way a Rife machine works, where you can kill a bacteria, you can kill a virus, or you can kill something by applying the appropriate inverse wave. You can do that with people. You can do that's the way energetic weapons work too. Where if you know somebody, the full breadth of somebody's energetic signature, if you apply the inverse wave, you can flatline them too. That's the way energetic weapons work. So you have to know what somebody contains, and then you have to know that you don't want to flatline everything. You have to do it in a staggered way so you can heal them and not kill them. You don't want to flatline them. You do want to bring everything to 0 point, but you want to bring it online. There's a staggered way that you have to do it so that they are being brought online. You're going to fix one thing. You're going to fix basically all things, but you're going to fix as much as you can, chapter by chapter, area by area, in a sequence to maximize the amount that you do in order to maintain the stability. So you don't want to take somebody totally offline. Otherwise, that would cause their death. And there are also a ton of near-death experiences. You can also kill somebody and bring them right back. There are all sorts of ways you can do it. But right now, we're working with vibrational medicine and vibrational healing. But it's important to not do all of it all at once because you can't overload. I remember when I was horrendously ill. I was catastrophically ill with a whole full biological ecosystem failure for a very, very long time, way over a decade. And I would just collapse, and I had tunnel vision, and I won't even get into everything that was wrong with him, but I went into organ failure, lost all my teeth had to come out because I had mercury poisoning also. And my system was so weakened, I was given 4 months to live at one point. And with that, unless I had radical, immediate intervention. And I also, I died, I had a near-death experience, several. But I kept coming back. And that's a story for a different day. But regarding the mercury poisoning, I had poisoning from the energy of having been Joan of Arc. Mercury is messenger of the gods. I basically had messenger poisoning, where it's that pattern that I had so much energy left over from that, so much density, so much to be cleared from that lifetime that, and all my teeth. So it was heavy metal poisoning. It was mercury poisoning, but I was so ill that I was too sick to even undergo chelation therapy. And I had to be treated with IVs. I had to go out of state to a specialist clinic. I had to be driven because I would have IVs, and I was taking 72 pills a day. Many of them were nutraceuticals, like not just medications. I was taking a lot of medications, but I was also on nutraceuticals, like mega doses of vitamins and all hormones and like bioidentical prescriptions that were made for me, because I couldn't have, certain things that were artificial. And then my system went into overload because I also couldn't clear it fast enough. So I went into kidney failure, and it was really an ordeal for a very long time. And I also had to be kept in the dark for a while because I had multiple chemical sensitivities, systemic candidiasis, in addition to like horrendous anemia. I couldn't absorb anything either. So it was really a nightmare. And where was I going? Oh, but regarding the chelation therapy, there was a time that they had to get all of the mercury out of my body all together. I was also, my teeth were my skin was green. I was jaundiced, and I was losing my teeth anyway. And I had so many fillings that we pulled all of my teeth out all at once. And it was really kind of a Hail Mary because I wasn't expected to live anyway. We'd given my car away because I could no longer drive. And, or I think I sold it for very little because nobody expected me to live, really. And, but I wasn't even able to withstand. My system was so weak that I couldn't even approach the removal of the mercury until I was stabilized. And it took them so long to stabilize me. art, just all sorts of energy healers from all over the world. I went through the John of God protocol 6 times. I had surrogate surgery in Brazil. I had some man. I had kidney surgery from John of God, and John of God is something I would like to talk about very much sometime, not today, but that really was when I went through the John of God protocol. That really was the time that between John of God and the Fiber and Fatigue Center, Dr. Di Giovanni. Between the two of them, I lived, and without either one of them. So it was very interesting because she was a very gifted doctor, and she took a totally different approach to my care, and she looked at the entire breadth of it. But then I had to go for IVs for a really long time, multiple IVs. So I would go to the clinic and sit there in the chair for the entire day, and often it gets you sicker. But it wasn't chemotherapy, but it was just humongous cocktail, and then an array of IVs, also iron. So I would have them going in both arms, and then I would be back again a couple of days later. But I was, and tremendous sleep disturbances. At any rate, that was a whole chapter of my life in Riften. And I didn't get to be a mama much, which I deeply regret. At any rate, where was I going with this? Connectivity. So the future of medical care too is frequency medicine, but you have to stagger it. I did ultimately wind up with after we took out all my teeth because I couldn't stand even a slight bit of mercury, for any further mercury. I couldn't have any of it. So all of the teeth came out, and only when I was stabilized was chelation therapy approached. And we couldn't do that all at once either. It was because then you get Herxheimer reaction, where your system is overloaded with the toxins that they get dumped into your bloodstream, and then you have to have a period of time for that to be all flushed out. So we're doing basically the same thing globally now, and that's one of the ways that that's one of the reasons that you have the 3 waves of awakening. You can't do it all at once. The first wave picks up the heaviest amount, and then we stabilize. We hold the space for clearing. We hold the light, and then we hold the stability and function like vacuum tubes. And little by little, the ones who are carrying generally less, once we took the top off, we took the edge of it off, the most extreme, we clear and we take the longest time doing it. But then there's a very rapid clearing of the second wave, which is 10 times larger, but as a group, they carry less individually. They do less, it's less density on an individual level, so they're not going to have as much trauma. There's a certain amount of equalization. So we are a smaller group who over a period of time dealt with the most severe trauma. And then the second group is a much, much larger group who has the same amount of trauma collectively, but it's spread out between 10 times the amount of people. So yeah, that's the way I want to say it. So ultimately, energetically, it balances. Is anybody still here? I wonder if I want to, this is so fascinating. I'm going to scroll up for a second. I can't see anything. The screen is this is fascinating. The screen is totally dim. Can all of you see me? Is anybody even there? How long have we been going on? So it says 2, 2, 3. Okay. So I feel like I'm going to end this here and see. I might come on again I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to see how it flows. I would be so interested if the rest of you could, if you watched this and helped with the connectivity issues, keep me posted about anything you notice. So if my live stream shows up tonight, that'd be interesting. If it's still there tomorrow, that'll be interesting. If it disappears, that will also be interesting. And then if it reappears like a, you know, like a crystal or something, where it suddenly reappears and you know you did it, it would be so fascinating if the live stream of mine that disappeared from the other day, it would be fascinating if that appears. It makes a, if it comes back. Who knows? I'm wondering if I'm going to wind up ultimately I don't know, moving to YouTube and doing it over there, but I've been having different problems over there, totally different. I really could use some technical assistance on a practical, and I did, so I understand that I just got some here. On a practical level, I have been saying I'm asking for practical assistance, somebody to come in and assist me with connection issues. It would really be helpful if that person were in my physical reality to come and work with me in the physical world. I don't know who it is, but I would welcome, I think I would welcome, depending on who it is. So I'm not entirely sure what the problem is, but I'm interested in finding out. I feel like I'm going to wait and see what happens tonight, and then maybe tomorrow. I guess it also depends. So I'm asking for a window of time to make these adjustments, because certain people can't. I need a clear space with which to work. If the girls are both here, that's not going to work. If there's interfering factors, that won't work for me. I want a clear space. I need silence. It helps to have a certain amount of light, and also my lights are off. Wait a minute. Okay, hang on a second. 1 second. So what does that do? Nope, now it's extra dark. So interesting. Huh. Okay. I think I'm gonna end this here and come back tomorrow and talk about salt water. Because I really have a lot to say about salt water and Tomer and the circuit and Tel Aviv and all the other stuff that's going on, because it really does explain a lot of stuff, particularly with the Abundance Network. We're doing really well, though, in terms of making adjustments, because all of these adjustments are happening in real time. So it's also interesting that it'd be interesting if it's taken down, or I shouldn't even say if it's taken down, there's a lot of it has to do with a time delay. So it's not always intentional interference. Sometimes it's like I move down a level or up a level, and the circumstance just changes. The density level changes. So that affects the time, because light moves a lot slower through density. Energy moves slower through density. So every time we hit a new level, higher or lower, the rules kind of change. So all we're trying to do is go chapter by chapter to check out the terrain and see what needs to happen, and then fiddle around with it until we can get something up and running. All right, it's so fascinating. I can't see a damn thing on this now. It's gotten really, like, my screen is totally black. And I also can't, nope, that's not there either. Wow. Fascinating. Okay. No, we're just going to fix it. That's all. I have every confidence that it's just a matter of time before this entire circuit is connected. And then it's going to wind up, reminds me very much of Kundalini awakening. You know, when it goes up your spine, and then as soon as it makes the connection at the top, as soon as it goes all the way up your spine, 33 vertebra, and as soon as the electric rises and it makes that connection at the base of the skull, that's the connection we're working on for the globe. And it's only a matter of time before it actually works. We know that's going to happen. Okay. I love you all very much. If you would like to book a session or send me a private message, get in touch if you need to. And Okay. If you think you have something to particularly offer, I'm welcoming assistance from the greater network. Yeah. Okay. I don't even know how to get on. I can't see a single button. Oh my gosh. I was going to click off of this thing, but I have no idea. I can't find it because it's dark. I'm just guessing. Okay. I love you all. I will see you very soon. Bye.